They hand it off to Johnson. Boise State has won the top.
They take a downfield shot. And the catch is made. It's Ryan Williams. Still spinning free. Touchdown. The touchdown in the first possession. Back in the game. And he's loose again. Edwards off and running. Welcome back, Donovan Edwards.
He's going for the corner. He's got it.
This is the Gridiron Uncensored.
Welcome back to another episode of the Gridiron Uncensored podcast. I'm riding solo tonight. Brendan over here for everybody listening on the podcast. Trev again. We're filming this in one night, just separating the episodes. Trev's under the weather. But we appreciate you guys listening, tuning in. This is our preview season. And, we're rolling through the group of five right now and seeing who do we think can contend for their conference championships, but also who can contend for the playoff spot. We saw Boise State get it last year. They pushed into the number 3 seed. There's still talks about seeding change, because the SEC and the Big Ten weren't too happy about how that went down. But we'll see. They have not come to an agreement yet, and if they do, we will, of course, discuss it. But either way, that doesn't matter right now. We're talking about teams that can still, make the playoffs, and that comes from the group of 5 as well as the Power 4. So long for the ESPN, folks were saying, well, they're going to end up being at the 12th seed. They're going to end up doing, they're the last team in. That was never the case. It's just I just don't think they give a shit enough about the group of 5. And over here, I love all of college football. I love the group of 5. I love how many different fan bases there are. And I think that's part of what makes, college football great. So that's why we tipped our hat to the group of 5 and we start off with them in the preview season. So we've already done through a couple teams. If you want to go check them out, go check them out on our YouTube page. Again, we've been separating them into individuals just because, if you don't give a shit, you don't care about these other teams that you might be playing, then, hey, now all you got to do is look for your team, your episode on the YouTube page, and you're good to go. So tonight we're talking Tulane on this episode. And, obviously the Tulane's always been a team that's been around. They've always been in the, the conference races. They've always contended well against the Power 4 schools, So this is one that to me is another no-brainer with Summerall at coach that they should be contending again this season. Last year, it was one that was early on. They faced 2 tough teams. I'm going to pull up their schedule here from 2024 and just do a quick, recap. And you looked at it, and the Kansas State game, oh my gosh, such a tight battle, and one that I thought, they left too much on the field, and honestly, I think they probably should have won that game, but it's still it counted out as a loss. And then you go back right after losing that tight game to Kansas State, you go lose to Oklahoma. And that was before they were all, injured and tore up. And so that you got a little bit, better of an Oklahoma squad there in that loss. But then you go out and you dominate the conference like, what Tulane is accustomed to doing in handling business all the way up until they played Memphis, which was a team that we highlighted last year as somebody that Trevor, especially, he said, hey, that's a team that should be going to the playoffs. Didn't happen, for Memphis, but still, that was a solid squad. And you took a loss there. And then you end up finishing with 3 straight losses. Army took you down in the conference championship. And then Florida, they had their way. But that's just the nature of the beast sometimes. So you look at 2024, it was a good season. You got to the American Conference Championship, and then you took a loss to Army. And that's something, all right, now we need to be the team that beats, Army or Navy or whoever the hell you're going to face in the conference championship game. And I think Tulane is set up nicely to win the American Conference. So we're going to look at that. I'm going to get rid of the 2024 schedule and start looking into 2025. So first off, Darren Mentz is gone, right? That doesn't matter anymore. That ship's sailed. So who the hell is going to be at a quarterback? Well, there's a couple of things before that. You got coaching changes, not many, but there's good continuity, on the staff. Offensive coordinator stayed, defensive coordinator stayed, and then of course Summerall's still there. So moving on, you got Will Hall. He comes in as a pass game coordinator, wide receiver coach, and then McKissick's coming in as a run game coordinator and the offensive line coach. So a couple of pieces in there that you're shifting around, bringing in new guys to try and help bolster the coaching staff. But I think Summerall's been a good coach. I think he's always hired well. So I don't think Tulane fans should feel, any concern on that end. And then you look at, transfer portal, obviously affected by it pretty bad. But you guys brought in plenty as well. So looking at the numbers from, over under and everything else, I'll give you a quick rundown. Trying to find the over under is hard. I mentioned that for the group of 5 the last couple episodes. Can't find them except for a couple teams. Tulane, I've been seeing around 7.5, and that feels low. For me, I'm hammering the over on that shit. Give it to me all day. But when you look at the numbers that are coming back, returning production from Bill Conley, this was before the spring portal. I think he's changing the numbers up, but they're in the mid 50s when it comes to returning production. Team talent on the 24/7. That has not been updated yet either. That usually gets updated in August. But from what they're 62nd in team talent. So you got to imagine still in that similar area after all the portal moves. But then on the portal class, it was 70th in the nation. Not bad, nothing crazy, but they got plenty of pieces to plug in what they lost. So they brought in 34 and they lost 26. So you're at a plus on that. They're filling up the depth. They're trying to find anybody that can help them win that conference, because that's the goal this season. I firmly believe that, and I think the fan base would agree. If I'm wrong, let me know, please. But that, to me, Tulane, you want to win that conference championship, and you want to play for that damn playoff. So let's look at the portal class and what's coming in, what's going to help this team. Some key guys that I picked out was Husbands coming in as a tight end. I think that's a position that you guys have to really rely on this season is the tight ends. So you bring in Husbands. Holyfield's another guy that I saw that I think he's going to be more of an impact than others from the portal class. And then you look at Hall, Bach, and all your receivers, because Lord knows you need it. You lost a bunch in the transfer portal. So wide receivers coming in. I just mentioned the whole damn class. Ty Cooper's another one, and then Westmoreland was a guy that I've been hearing about from your boards and stuff like that. Having a pretty good spring. So offensively, quarterback, obviously, who the hell is it going to be? Ty Thompson was there. He just did not look good. It was ugly. He's decided he was going to transfer. He's decided to stay. I think he's going to play tight end now, from what I've been reading. So that's somebody else. Hey, he's a big body. Let's see what he can do out there. And it's worked. It's worked in the past. Not necessarily, at Tulane, but in other schools, I've seen, quarterback recruits go on and, play tight end. Dan Villari is one who played at Michigan. I'm obviously a Michigan fan, but he came in as quarterback, did his thing. But then guess what? He transferred to Syracuse, and he was a pretty good weapon for him. So look at that. Say maybe something will happen similarly for Tulane. So again, who's going to be the quarterback? Leary was the first one that kind of popped up, but I don't think he's going to be the guy. Simonza from Ball State, he was a freshman rookie of the year. Freshman rookie. You know what I mean? Hey, listen. Been drinking just a little bit, not too much, all right, but it's a whistle pig. I can't, be held accountable for what I'm saying. So either way, Simonza, I think he's probably one of the best bets to be it. But they also brought in Sullivan from Iowa. And Sullivan, initial looks at you probably wouldn't think it, but I think he's pretty athletic dude. He can move around. He can run pretty well. He was in some limited action last year. Iowa was a shit show, to be frank, at times last season. But hey, I think this guy's got some talent. And he's probably going to be somebody that can push that job. I think it's going to go into the fall, but I feel like you go with the young guy in Simonza, man. Maybe I'm saying his name wrong. I hope I'm not, but let him sling it. He killed it at Ball State, so let's see what he does. Moving on, a halfback position, I think it's going to be fine. If that's one thing that Tulane can do, it's run the football. pretty well. And even after losing Mekhi Hughes, the guys in McClure and Barnes, I think they're going to be able to hold their own when it comes to the run game. Again, mentioned tight ends, Ty Thompson, Husbands. That's somebody that you can mesh with, and you need to have them as solid blockers when the offensive line is what's really the concern when it comes to the O. And you're trying to piece, some of these guys together from the portal. And, the left side's fine. Everything that I've read and everything that I've watched tells me the guys that are coming back, they're pretty damn good. And I think they're gonna be just fine. But it's who are you plugging in? Who are you messing around with on the right side of the O line? I mentioned Jordan Hall earlier, somebody coming in from Liberty. You've got guys from across the board. Holyfield coming in from App State. More Liberty guys. One big body says he's a tackle. Jude McCoskey. Look at this guy. Dude is 6'8", 300. Give him a shot. I don't know, man. He's coming in from Indiana State. Let's see what he can do. And maybe he can, help out the squad. So those are things I'm looking at on the offensive side. But in all, I think this is going to be another good squad. I think they're going to be just fine at quarterback. You bring in a young talent, somebody that's athletic and can throw the ball. He's proven it in the big leagues. Other group of five play. Let him sling it. Defensively, this is where a lot had to be replaced when it comes to the transfer portal. But again, I trust Summerall to find what he needs and to fill in. And he got so many dudes from the portal. Somebody's got to freaking work, right? So we're looking at it, up front. I think they're fine. Everything that I've read from Summerall, from his pressers and from spring and before, he says that they like what they got up front. Interior and edge, they've got guys that can rotate. You brought Ty Cooper in, coming in from Mississippi State. Santana Hopper, coming in from App State. So you're getting guys that are coming in from the portal to help replace what was lost, but also give you more depth. And like I said, they brought in 34. So that's a solid, depth building class. And then defensive back was the hardest hit, but there's guys from what I've been reading, from, again, boards, and I'm going through all these different, websites trying to find information about Tulane to see what we're getting from them this year. And Rayshawn Pleasant was somebody that they've mentioned. Despani, I believe is the name, excuse me. And then Jaden Lewis were all guys that have been mentioned as people that can step up. So bringing in the guys from the portal, guys that are already organic to the program through recruiting, I think this team is going to be just fine. And again, that over under that they said was 7.5. I don't know if that's official, and maybe it'll change here before the season. I'm hammering the over on that. I trust that the offense is going to be able to put up enough points in each game, and the defense up front is going to still be able to push pressure. You're going to be able to get some rushes off the edge. I think it's going to be just fine and able to make a push for, again, the conference championship. So let's look at the schedule real quick and pull it up on my page, and then I'll pull up the tab so you guys can see it and hide my red face. And it's not just from the liquor, okay? I promise you. We were out. My son was playing hockey today, and so I got a little sunburn here in Texas. All right, so let's look at this 2025 schedule. And first off, obviously, Boise State. God dog. All right. Oh, hold on. That is the liquor, baby. I'm looking at USF. So I was like, that doesn't look right. We're going to Northwestern. Northwestern is the first one up. And of course, that's really not, it's a Big Ten team. But Northwestern, they've kind of been a shell of themselves after the whole Fitzgerald fiasco. And but they've had moments where they're still a solid team. They've still got talent. So you cannot overlook that one. But if Tulane can go in there, and it's in Yeoman Stadium, and you can beat Northwestern, and they come down on the road, that is a huge win, and that can propel your playoff hopes right there on the spot. And then you play South Alabama, but guess what? They just lost their starting quarterback. So that's huge. Who are they going to replace him with? And then you play Duke. This is a tough schedule. Okay, this is a no BS schedule. So that's why I can see why it's at the 7.5. But still, I just trust Tulane. I trust Summerall to be able to push it. And again, you beat Northwestern first. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I think it's got a pretty damn good chance. South Alabama, take that as a win. Duke, that's a tough one. That's also in New Orleans. That's huge. And then you go play at Ole Miss. So that first 4 or 5 games, even Tulsa after that, interesting matchup. And then you go on, you got Eastern Carolina, which is a team that people are hyping up from the group of 5 ranks. From what I've been reading, what I've been seeing on them, this is a team that you need to keep an eye on. Army, always tough. But, they've lost some key production. So I think that's somebody that you guys can get revenge on, if you will. I know it's not the same as, losing in your conference championship, but still go beat them, in the regular season, knock them out. And then you got UTSA, which has some changes going on. Memphis as well, new quarterback coming in this year. So honestly, it's an interesting schedule. The very front end is heavy, but I think if you can get through that first 4, call it 2-2, maybe 3-1. Say you go out and you beat Northwestern, Duke, who knows? Probably, I'm saying 2-2, but still, Ole Miss should be probably a loss. Even though last year it was closer than what the score showed, I thought. So this is a team, this is a squad that should, I think, get over that 7.5 mark, push for 9, and see where you're at, see what chaos happens around the league, because a lot of people are replacing quarterbacks. A lot of people are switching out, coaching staffs, and it's just going to be interesting to see what happens in this 2025 season. So appreciate you guys listening. Again, if there's anything I missed, let me know in the comments on YouTube. We're on the outside looking in. We're trying to see, nationally, who are teams that are going to contend for these playoff spots, and of course their conference championships. So again, subscribe, like, share. We appreciate you, and let me know what you guys think. We'll see you around.